Josh from Energy Matters. Welcome to our podcast, Road to Zero, where we dive headfirst into all things renewable. Join us as we chat with industry experts, tech specialists, and some of your favorite TV and radio personalities, asking the renewable energy questions that you want answers to. Our goal, a zero carbon future. Today, I feel like I am talking to a TV star, industry expert, and tech specialist all in one, because I've got John Wright on the show. Once again, you're like a regular, mate. You're like just every time I start my podcast, there's John.
It's like the digital equivalent of a reserved parking spot.
Mate, you are the best looking parking spot there is in the business, and probably one of the best marketing ones at that. So good, welcome back. It's great to see you. You've been keeping well?
Very well, thanks, mate. And yourself?
I'm very well, thanks, John. Very well indeed. Can't complain. Guys, for those of you who don't know John Wright is the marketing manager for GoodWe Australia. John, quick intro on yourself. Who are you? What you've been up to before GoodWe, and how did you find your way to GoodWe Energy?
Yeah, so I'm a fellow POM. Been here just over 10 years now. And for the vast majority of that, I've been fortunate to be in the solar industry. Before that, I was always in marketing for engineering technology, so familiar with like how that kind of works and that operates. So it was a bit of a natural fit, and the opportunity presented itself for me to be able to get into the solar industry, and it was great. So I did that from a distributor standpoint at first, and then moved to an inverter manufacturer here in Victoria. And then for the past 3+ years, I've been with GoodWe, heading up the marketing for the Australia and New Zealand region.
Mate, one thing I've been very impressed with, and you know this very well, so I speak to you a lot, is the way you've actually taken marketing inside of our industry to another level. So, of course, traditional marketing is just great brochures, website, emails, newsletters, stuff like that. The newsletter actually you do is really, really good as well, by the way. I meant to tell you that. I actually quite like it. But on top of that, just the initiatives that you're involved in. We've already seen on the TV show the last couple of weeks, some of the great projects that you guys have been involved in. But the one that really has blown me away is, when we got to visit the Great Barrier Reef, got to visit Winter Cairns, and met Dean Miller, who's an absolute superstar. And just saw what the great work they're up to, in Cairns Aquarium. We're in Cairns Aquarium, and I believe things may be changing. So you can let me know about that later on in the podcast. But what an incredible project! Can you just tell me a little bit more about how GoodWe got involved with the Forever Reef Project?
Yeah, so initially we got approached by one of our distributors, which is OSW, and they told us about this project and that they were looking for support for a solar and energy storage system. So we collaborated with Ryzen and obviously with ourselves and a installer up there in North Queensland called Sol Energy. Who are quite frankly amazing for them to be able to donate their time, because this is no ordinary system, as you can imagine. So yeah, that's how we first learned about their work, and we've been long-term partners and supporters ever since with Dean Miller and his amazing team and all the things that they got up to, and preserving and protecting frankly, one of the great natural wonders of the world and an Australian icon.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, look, one of the first things I knew about before coming to Australia. In fact, when you're as an Englishman, for me, I got here in 1999, so I've been there for like more than half my life now. Prior to coming to Australia, you think about the Opera House and Harbour Bridge in Sydney. You think about this massive rock in the centre of the country that really should be the capital of Australia in terms of Ayers Rock. And then you think about, the Great Barrier Reef. And if you consider how many, there's not many like natural wonders of the world, but we have one of them, inside of Australia or around Australia, being the Great Barrier Reef. I say around, but the very top right corner. It's absolutely stunning. Now, for me personally, one of the first things I did when I got to Australia was go scuba diving, and I got to more snorkeling with the Barrier Reef, but just to see it in all its wonder. And I went again a couple of years ago, and it had changed so much. So whereas before it's super vibrant, lots of color, like loads and loads of teeming with fish, although there still was a lot of marine life in terms of fish, you could tell the effects of coral bleaching and the impact that it had on the Great Barrier Reef. So it was super inspiring for me when you told me about this project. We took the camera crew and we went and filmed, the Forever Reef Project at Cairns Aquarium to find out more about what Dean and his team was up to. Can you kind of give a bit of a high level summary as to what the Forever Reef Project actually does?
Yeah, so Dr. Dean Miller heads up a team from the Great Barrier Reef Legacy project, and the Forever Reef Project is one of their key focal projects where it's essentially the world's first living coral ark in a way. It's a they call it a biobank. It's a facility where they can preserve and grow every species from the Great Barrier Reef. So what they do is essentially go out on expeditions, collect all of these species. I believe there's 415 or so hard coral species along that
Wow.
coastline, which is stretching. I didn't realize it's over 2,300 kilometers long, which is just mind-boggling. So yeah, they take all those specimens, they take safe samples so they don't destroy the coral at all. They take safe specimens, bring them back to their facility, which is obviously the environmental conditions have to be spot on key and powered 24/7 to enable this coral to grow and thrive. And that can be used for research and restoration efforts going forward as well. So as sea temperatures rise over time, research can be done to looking into making the strains and the species more resilient to warmer temperatures, and hopefully restore that barrier reef in the long term to get back what we had before, which is obviously what you said you saw when you went down there for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so really it's a race against time for these guys now to collect these species and preserve them all before they're wiped out.
Our mission is fairly simple. We want to collect all 415 hard coral species from the Great Barrier Reef and keep them alive in these state-of-the-art holding facilities for their ultimate conservation, just to keep them alive and create that insurance policy, but also to make living fragments, genetic material and tissue samples available for reef research and restoration efforts. With some really interesting partnerships and sponsorships through solar manufacturers, being batteries, inverters and solar panels, we were able to power this facility completely by the sun. So Ryzen solar panels have a 25 kilowatt system on the roof. GoodWe came to the party with inverters and 15 kilowatts of battery, and the Solar Energy Group made that system sing by putting it all together.
Look, Dean Miller, I mean, he's such a charismatic guy. I mean, he's a marine biologist. You chat to him for the first time, I wasn't too sure what to expect. He's a good-looking lad as well. So, all the ladies, when you're watching the TV show on Saturday this week, yeah, you're gonna like what you see. But when you chat to Dean, I mean, he is so passionate, and and what I love most about him is his commitment to our cause, right? Because I don't tie myself to trees, but at the same token, we believe in a net zero, a zero carbon future, no carbon emissions from fossil fuels. We want everyone to do their part, no matter how small it is. And chatting to Dean, it was just so eloquent how he was phrasing his concerns for our planet. And at the same token, he has a very positive outlook. And I think that positive outlook really comes from, when you're actually, playing, when you're actually involved in this industry and you're doing as much as you possibly can do, and you can see that, others are getting involved, the public's getting involved, people installing renewable energy technology. It warms your heart to say, look, you may not necessarily be doing it to save the planet. And even if you're doing it to reduce your energy bills, that's fantastic. Because by saving on your energy bills, inadvertently, you're reducing your carbon footprint. So it's basically win-win. So and it's just lovely the way he was putting it. But really, you could see his concern for what's happening with the reef, and then obviously just looking at their facility and how they're actually collecting those species and testing what future conditions, how that could potentially impact the reef further. And as you said, is there a way in the in the future to be able to repopulate the reef and actually get the reef back to its former glory. Whether or not they can, who knows?
The implications are far more reaching than that. You may think, oh, it's, preserve a natural wonder of the world. But like from Dean's research and from all the facts that they have, the barrier reef supports over 25% of the ecosystem and essentially the life force of all the oceans. So without the barrier reef, that ecosystem is effectively ruined. And also it like he has the stats and research to show that the reefs worldwide contribute to the lifestyles and support for up to 1 billion people around the world. So
it's incredible.
Yeah, it's not just about the barrier reef, it's the wider implications of it. And what they're doing, they're hoping to replicate for other reefs worldwide as well. Like we're not special. The Great Barrier Reef is obviously just the biggest. There are other reefs at risk as well, and that needs to be acted upon.
No, he did actually mention there's so much collaboration, with his peers around the world, and South America, like Asia, wherever there's a reef, there's a conversation happening as to say, well, what's your testing, sharing data, and as you said earlier, I mean, no one really seems to realize that a reef is not just something that to have a look at and think, oh, that's beautiful, it's a glorious thing to swim around. But as you said, it supports thousands and thousands and thousands of organisms and living species. And, there was, and, even inside of that, even like, fish, we take fish for granted that, the fishermen are going to go out there or in their trawlers, heave up a whole bunch of fish. But you take away the reef, which provides a food source and also provides a home to a food source, then, they've got nowhere to eat. So fundamentally, we're going to lose fish, not just from overfishing, but also because they're actually going to be driven out of their actual home and try and find a new place to actually, to raise their families and fundamentally grow as a species. So we're kind of doing ourselves a disservice on many levels. I think what I like about this particular project is it graphically represents the impact we're having on climate change, because we've actually got something that's visually stunning and it's losing its magnificence as a direct result of the heat, the water temperatures changing, pollution, so really, it really demonstrates visually the impact we have on, by global warming inside of climate change, and just over really burning, fossil fuels and creating, a really, the circumstances that we find ourselves in right now. So, it's a very warm story. I mean, for anyone watching, you really want to tune in this Saturday, 4 p.m. on Lion Life. It's an incredible episode, incredible, segment. And just to demonstrate, as an educational perspective, what we're doing, how we can avoid it. And look, worst case scenario, we've got a great organization trying to make a difference. Talking about collaboration, John, this project in terms of the technology that you guys installed really was a collaboration. You mentioned it earlier, but really involving, yourselves as GoodWe Energy with your batteries and inverters, Ryzen with their solar panels, Sol Energy, to do the actual installation. So really, really good team involved. Can you tell me more about how that technology accumulated actually helps the aquarium and indeed the project?
Sure, yeah. So obviously the know-how and the installation was the work of Sol Energy, who put their heart and soul into this of their own time and free will. And to install a 30 kilowatt system on the top of the Cairns Aquarium, which is a very popular tourist attraction, is, it's no mean feat, and it's not a quick solar install by any means. So we came to the party with an energy storage system, 15 kilowatt inverter, and also a battery stack, which we've just increased as well. And that energy storage is crucial for the 24/7 operation of all of those tanks. All of that climate control, the pumps, the networks, the monitoring, the data, that needs to be powered constantly. And that's where the battery power comes in. So at night time can kick into that reserve power. So they're not contributing towards the thing that's damaging the in turn, the barrier reef as well. And in addition, with it being Cairns, obviously it's prone to a lot of extremely bad weather, as we've seen recently. Year on year, it just seems to be getting worse and worse. So having that reliability on that instant backup power to keep those life support systems going is vital for them. Otherwise, the whole project is a bust. So we've got that technology, and we were only too happy to donate it for a non-profit organization that really, relies on a lot of support, and there's a lot of high costs involved as well. It was the very least we could do. And since we've got involved with various other things as well, which we're going to talk about in a bit, but really it was just very gratifying to see that our technology could play such a crucial part and support what they're doing, so that they have the peace of mind to go about their business and focus on what it is that they need to do, which is collect all those species of coral.
I know Dean was saying to me that, one of the most satisfying things is when there is a storm passing through, and there's been crazy storms, as you said, earlier on at the start of the year, blackout city, but just to be able to be at home, and rather than have to dash to the aquarium to check, his check his project and check the species to make sure they're okay, he can just check his phone and look at his app and have a look that, okay, great, the batteries are stored, there's a blackout, but the actual power is now going through and powering the tanks, everything's okay. Which is, once again, a really amazing feature of, your technology. You've just got such a user-friendly application. I know a lot of people freak out about tech and think, it's going to be complicated, I can't understand how it works. But it's so easy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's straightforward. And the technology that we've employed here is no different to what you'd have in a regular residential home. It's just the scalability. So our inverters are available in a wide variety of sizes and for different purposes. And the battery technology is modular, so it's just scalable to however much you need. Think of it like Lego bricks. Each little module is a battery, and they just stack on top of each other to the amount that you need, and then you just add more in the future as you require. So that flexibility allows the smallest of homes to the biggest of businesses, up to a certain point, the ability to use this exactly the same product. So that really is very rewarding to see when you see homes, businesses, and non-profits such as the Forever Reef Project benefiting from that. And like you said, giving them peace of mind, knowing that, oh no, there's a storm coming, am I going to lose, in their case, life support? Are we going to lose all the coral? How are we going to know if they're okay? Can we keep the pumps and filters going on? Yep, no problem. It's done. It's taken care of.
Which is amazing. And as and as you just mentioned, the technology is consistently being able to be used for any home or business. For anyone watching who has a solar power installed, either back in the day or more recently, and you've been pondering whether or not you should get battery storage, of course, we recommend it for the reasons we've just mentioned, to protect you against blackouts, but also just to be able to store that additional solar power that you're using throughout the daytime for use at night, for early morning. I mean, electricity rates, unfortunately, continue to go up. The writing on the wall for the future isn't any more positive. So really having as much independence from the grid as you possibly can do is essential, just for your own peace of mind, knowing that you're controlling your energy bills. And more importantly, the cost of batteries have come down. So now is a really, really good time, right? Because we have seen some serious transition in pricing coming down, especially yourself. I mean, what's great about GoodWe is, not only are you guys designing incredible technology, which I know about firsthand, but more so, you're making it affordable to everybody. And what I love about your particular battery modules that have been installed in this particular project is they are, scalable. So for anyone who's got a solar power system and thinks, well, how much solar or how much battery storage do I actually need? You can just get like, what is it, 3.2 is the...
Each module is 3.2 kilowatt hours, and the minimum is 2 of those, so it's 6.4. And then you need a PCU, which is essentially the control unit of the battery. And then as you need more, you get your installer to take the PCU off, add another module, stack it on top. And then it just grows from there. So you can have up to 28.8 kilowatt hours in one stack, which is pretty high. And then you can also parallel, which is connect up to 8 of those towers. So you can have up to 230 kilowatt hours of battery storage on one system, which is, Yeah, it's a lot of batteries, and like you say, it's a lot more affordable than people think. Through doing a lot of consumer events and activities, we've seen people look at the return on investment, the safety aspect. We use the lithium iron phosphate, LFP, which is the safest chemistry on the market. So that peace of mind is obviously important. But like you say, it's very affordable now. There are lots of government incentives and rebates available. And with the feed-in tariff so low, a lot of people are naturally looking towards energy storage to add to their solar or start from scratch. So yeah, it's great technology, and we hope people consider looking at it, do their homework, and make their own informed decisions as to what's
No,
right.
very, very cool, mate. And look, before we finish up, I know you've got some amazing stuff in the pipeline. Some's been completed already. Some's coming very soon. Can you give us any, reveal anything on this call?
Yeah, so as following the recording of the TV show, which I can't wait for actually, please watch it. Dean is amazing. Visually, it's stunning. It's like watching an Avatar sequel. The visuals are stunning. They've since moved to Port Douglas, to Wharf Street, which is one of their marinas. If you are in the vicinity, they're about to reopen, so you can go and get tours, see the place for yourself, experience and see the coral. So they are operating there at the moment. It's a much larger facility, which is what they needed. They needed more tanks as they collect more corals. They have a scuba shack. We're giving it the name of the scuba shack, which is an expedition container for all of their dive equipment, charging equipment, emergency tanks, which again all needs to be climate controlled. So they have an energy storage system for that, which is great. And again, natural evolution of supporting them and allowing them to have that peace of mind, knowing that their expedition equipment is all ready and it will be maintained and they won't lose it, because that stuff's not cheap.
And that's donated by yourselves as well?
Yes, and Sol Energy once again coming to the party, being absolute superstars.
Awesome.
In turn, they're also looking at developing a coastal hub, working with First Nations communities, and the aim is this will be essentially a life support hub, and there will be multiple ones of them along the Great Barrier Reef and overseas. And again, that's more localized so that it's not just relying on the one facility. These coastal hubs will be maintained and supported by these First Nations communities, and Dean and his team working with marine biologists as this project grows. So we're working with them on that, which will be a world's first. And we're very excited about it. They're also about to gear up for something with a very well-known documentary TV series. I can't really say too much more about it, but there's
as well as Energy Matters.
As well as Energy Matters, of course. But they're out there, and it's well worth keeping your eyes open for more information on what they're doing. And in addition, because they've moved out of the Cairns Aquarium, the aquarium themselves have seen the benefits, so much so that the system that the Forever Reef Project had was energy positive. They had surplus energy, so that in turn helped the aquarium. So the Cairns Aquarium themselves are about to have a 400 kilowatt solar system installed to help reduce their bills as well, and provide that life support systems for all of their animals, including endangered species as well. So the benefits of solar are far reaching. And it's great to see it being used for great purposes like this.
That's absolutely incredible. Well, mate, kudos once again. I mean, it's just so touching to see the work that GoodWe does and to see these projects firsthand. And I mean, not only is it a beautifully shot segment, and it's going to be, you're going to love, anyone watching is going to absolutely love that particular episode. But really, from on the other side of it, it's just lovely to see an organization, as successful as GoodWe, but really looking at projects that they can make a difference to. And I know that's driven by yourself and obviously Dean Williamson inside of GoodWe Australia. So good on you guys. I mean, you're absolute legends. And I can't wait to see this week's episode. It's going to be awesome.
Me either, mate. And really, like these guys as well, they're always looking for additional support. There are adoption things available. These guys can't do it without donations from public and businesses. So if you can help and want to find out more, please visit them at foreverreef.org and check out what they're up to.
Good stuff. Thanks for joining me today, John. I appreciate it.
Look forward to the episode, mate. Can't wait.
Thanks, mate. See you soon.
See you soon.
So if anyone watching, you know what to do. First and foremost, tune in to the 9 Network this Saturday at 4 p.m. and switch on 9 Live and watch this episode. It'll be absolutely fantastic. You're going to have a great time. And also, whilst you're doing that, if you really want to find out more information and understand more about what you're seeing on the television show, including brands like GoodWe Energy, then feel free to actually jump onto our website, energymatters.com.au, scroll down, and you'll be able to see all the different projects that we're featuring on the TV show, and clicking through to the pages that we're hosting that shows all about their products, services, and if you want to get a quote for those products, you can do directly from their page. I personally would advise that you definitely get quotes for GoodWe's battery storage, along with an inverter if you haven't already, and if you haven't really got solar power, just go for the whole kit and caboodle. All you need to really understand at this stage is how much is it going to cost and does it fit your budget. The great news is there are packages for everybody. All the different solar installers around the country are able to offer finance plans as well, so payment plans. So if you haven't actually got the cash, but you think you can make it work on a month-to-month basis, then by all means get a quote to see how it looks like on a monthly basis and whether or not you can squeeze it into your budget. Not forgetting, if you adopt solar power technology for your home, then the amount you're paying for your energy bills right now goes down. So effectively, the savings from your energy bill can be used in your mind as a way of offsetting the cost of solar power. Genius, right? And also, just understanding if you do reduce your energy bill in any way, shape, or form, you're actually reducing your carbon footprint. So no matter what you do, you're making a difference. Anyway, find out more about how you can help this Saturday at 4 p.m. on 9 Live. It's going to be an incredible episode of Energy Matters. And for now, see you next time. Thank you for joining me.